everyone, ReeferGil here. In this video we'll be starting my plumbing with the 100-gallon rimless build. I'll be starting my plumbing with the Synergy Reef Shadow Overflow. I'm still waiting for my custom sump to arrive, and I'm still holding out for the Neptune Systems Core 20 pump. In the meantime, I decided it was a good idea to start some easier plumbing and get that out of the way. This is the 16-inch Shadow Overflow rated to handle 1500 gallons per hour. It can be installed on glass or acrylic with a thickness of 1/4 inch and all the way up to 3/4 of an inch. The entire unit is injection molded, meaning that there are no seams for the exception of the front weir and the rear lid cover. Inside the box you get the front overflow box, gasket seals, the rear exterior box, 2 locking nuts, a drilling template. In my case, my tank was pre-drilled. Otherwise, you would need this to drill 2 1.5 inch holes in your glass. 2 90-degree fittings with pre-drilled air holes at the top. A spare removable weir so that during cleaning you could swap out the clean one with the dirty one. 3 keys. I'll explain the use of these toward the end of the video. And some paperwork directing you to a website for installation instructions. The items I used to plumb the overflow were the Shadow Overflow box, a gate valve to tune the primary overflow drain. I'll have to wait for the sump to actually install this. PVC cutters, clear PVC glue and primer, a measuring tape and marker, 1.5 inch PVC run, and 3 1.5 inch unions. The first step I'm taking to plumbing the overflow is gluing the PVC runs to the bottom of the drains. Synergy Reef Systems recommends that the PVC runs be no less than 4 inches long. I opted to go with 10-inch PVC runs since this is about where the bottom of the drain would line up with the opening in the back of my aquarium stand. I measured and marked off 3 10-inch PVC sections. After measuring and marking, I went ahead and used PVC cutters to cut through the 1.5 inch PVC pipe. You can also use a hacksaw or miter saw to cut the PVC. If you opt to buy PVC cutters, I suggest that you don't skimp out on the cheapest cutters that you could find. It took me buying 3 PVC cutters before I finally purchased these cutters to cut my PVC. They make the job much easier and cleaner in my opinion. After cutting the 10-inch lengths of PVC, it was time to round out the sharp edges. To ensure a good fit, it is highly recommended to chamfer the edges using a router, sandpaper, a file, or in my case I'll be using a stone grinder. Before I actually chamfer the orange PVC, I practice on a scrap piece of Schedule 40 PVC. The trick is to use the right amount of pressure and come into the stone wheel at the right angle while rotating the PVC as it makes contact with the grinder. Continually rotating the PVC in your hand at a consistent rate will reduce the likelihood of grinding too much from one area and creating an undesirable flat spot on the PVC. Next, I use a sanding brick to remove any burrs. I sanded the outside and inside edges of the PVC. Once I was done rounding down the edges, the chamfered edges look like this on all 3 10-inch PVC runs. This will ensure a more secure bond with the PVC glue inside the molded bulkheads of the Shadow Overflow. Because of the tight fit, it is not recommended to dry fit the end of the PVC into the bottom of the molded bulkhead drain. If you accidentally crack or damage the external box, you'll be out of luck and unfortunately you'll have to get yourself a new unit. Next, I apply primer to the PVC and to the inside of the bottom of the drain sleeve, which acts as a seamless bulkhead. The primer will clean and soften the plastic. I then applied a generous amount of glue to the PVC and to the inside of the bulkhead sleeve. Insert the PVC into the bulkhead sleeve and continue to push until the PVC comes to rest with the internal stopper inside the bulkhead sleeve. Give the PVC a slight turn and hold for a few seconds to allow the glue time to set. I repeated this process for the remaining pieces of 10-inch long PVC runs. It's worth mentioning the clear PVC glue and clear PVC primer make plumbing your aquarium a lot cleaner. I purchased this glue and primer on Amazon. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you're interested. Next, I glued on the unions to the bottom of the PVC runs. These are 1.5 inch unions with slip-to-slip connections. A piece of advice: when installing the unions, make life easier on yourself by installing the unions so the right turns tighten, left turns loosen. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. If you're not paying attention, you can actually install these upside down. They will function and create a watertight seal all the same, but when it comes time to disconnecting your unions, you'll find that you'll be getting frustrated as some of the unions will come off by turning them left and others by turning them right. I took the bottom end of the union and installed this 1.5 inch to 1 inch slip reducer. This will allow me to start plumbing 1 inch PVC pipe off the 1.5 inch drain. To install the reducer, I simply use primer on the reducer and on the union, then followed up with some glue. Push the fittings into one another, ensuring the reducer slides to the point it makes contact with the union stopper. Hold them together for a few seconds before releasing. You can absolutely continue using 1.5 inch drains into your sump without using a reducer at all. But in my case, my sump has 1 inch drain holders, so I had to reduce down. After gluing in the reducer, I noticed I had glue all over the top of the union. You want to make sure to remove the glue or let it dry before screwing in both pieces of the union. Otherwise, you may end up accidentally permanently gluing the two pieces of union together. Moving on to cutting PVC lengths for the internal drains. I'm going with the recommended lengths of 2.5 inches for the primary drain, 3.5 inches for the secondary drain, and 7 inches for the emergency drain. You can modify the overflow to whatever your likings are. If you want to run the Herbie Method drain and only use 2 to 3 drains, you can easily cap off the third drain and only run 2. I'm going to stick with utilizing all 3 drains and use a bean style overflow system. I cut all 3 1.5 inch PVC pieces to length and installed the provided 90-degree fittings to the 2 shorter PVC pieces. Everything in the drain will be assembled dry, meaning I won't use any glue. The 90-degree fittings don't need to be fully inserted. In fact, be careful not to force the PVC in too far into the 90-degree fittings, otherwise you may end up splitting the 90-degree fittings at its seams. Because I use PVC cutters, the end of the PVC I cut swelled up just enough to make it a bit tough to insert the PVC into the 90-degree fitting. Now let's go upstairs and install the shadow overflow box onto the back of the aquarium. Installing the overflow is super simple. Take the internal overflow box and insert the gaskets onto the threads. Place the threads through the 1.5 inch hole in your glass. Now take the second set of gaskets and install them onto the outside of the same threads. You should have a total of 4 gaskets, 2 sitting up against the inside of the glass and 2 sitting up against the outside of the glass. It's very important to install the gaskets so they are making direct contact with the glass. Now install the external overflow box and use the locking nuts to tighten down the overflow box. Make sure the locking nuts are snug. Once you've attached the 90-degree fitting, insert the bottom of the PVC into the top of the drain inside the rear exterior box. Do the same with the remaining pieces. You can place the primary drain, the secondary drain, and the emergency drain in any order that fits your setup. Once I placed the 7-inch emergency drain into place, I noticed the 7-inch drain wouldn't catch any of the water till the rear exterior overflow was nearly full of water. The top of the 7-inch emergency drain was a bit too close to the top of the overflow box for my comfort. I removed the 7-inch emergency overflow and cut it down to a total length of 6 inches to give me a bit more of a safety cushion in the highly unlikely event the primary and secondary drain fail. The black colored acrylic along with the lid cover prevents light from penetrating into the overflow, where if you had an open top overflow in the past, you know that the overflow area is ground zero for nuisance algae and aptasia to grow, as shown here with my previous 75-gallon system's overflow. Additionally, if you have an overflow system, you know that the teeth of the weir are hard to clean and you can actually break them if you're not careful. Synergy Reef Systems thought ahead by designing an overflow with a removable weir. By using one of the provided keys that I showed you at the start of this video, you can easily pop off the weir and immediately install the included spare weir. This way you can easily clean your weir while continuing to run your aquarium filtration without interruption by installing the clean standby spare weir. The high gloss black acrylic makes the overflow look super sexy. Its sleek low profile blends in with the black painted aquarium background in a way that the overflow is hardly noticeable, while still being able to handle some 1,500 gallons of water per hour, much more than I need. Since my sump isn't ready yet, this is as far as my plumbing can go. I'm really hoping to have this wet very soon. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram to keep up with real-time updates. Other than that, follow along with my new build by subscribing to my YouTube channel and take 1 second to hit that thumbs up for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next Sunday.